Alright, and welcome back to working with Excel. We're going to be covering Module 7, which corresponds to Chapter 6 in our textbook. We're going to be looking at what-if analysis. So before we get into the actual analysis tools, I want to cover some of the chapter objectives. So first thing is to read pages 396 to pages 453. That encompasses the entire Chapter 6. We're going to be taking a look at range names, looking at what are range names, creating range names, editing ranges, deleting ranges, using range names in formulas, and inserting a list of range names. Once we're able to get past the range names objective in class, we're going to be looking at 1 and 2 variable data tables. And then we're going to start getting into some of the tools, but we'll look at 1 variable and 2 variable substitution values, as well as formatting, adding formulas, and calculating some results within those 1 and 2 variable data tables. And then, as I mentioned, we'll get into GoalSeek and Scenario Manager, as well as Solver, which are some analytic what-if tools in the Excel program itself. So GoalSeek and Scenario Manager kind of determine an optimal input values. So you're looking at what optimal input values you need for using GoalSeek. And we'll look at Scenario Manager, which basically kind of does that what-if analysis in terms of giving a specific scenario, what's going to happen, and then being able to change those up. So we'll look at creating, editing, reviewing some scenarios with Scenario Manager, and then we'll also show creating scenario summary reports. And then we'll look at loading the solver add-in and optimizing the results, defining constraints, creating a solver report, configuring, saving, and restoring a solver model. So let's go ahead and get into our worksheet here. I have a worksheet that's created that is it's a commission worksheet, so we're going to kind of look at first defining and creating some range names. So earlier in the course we looked at what defining a range is, and basically a range is just a collection of adjacent or group of adjacent ranges, cells, and rows. So in this particular scenario here, I've selected in our input area, created selected a range called monthly sales. And so in order to create and to establish a range name, you want to go to the Formulas tab. It will go ahead and give you, under the Defined Names section, you can go to Create from Selection. Click on that, and it's going to allow you to basically, given the scenario, given the data that you selected, create the name of your range for the 3 values that we have there. And again, based on the relative position of the information that you selected, it will go ahead. You can go ahead and establish those. So I'm going to leave the left column checked because I want the data that is appearing in the right column to correspond to the text in the left. So I'm going to click OK. And what that is going to do is that is going to now establish some range names for our data here. So if you actually click on the cell, you notice up here in the name box that I've kind of expanded the name box out a bit so it can be seen. But you'll notice that in the name box for the cell we have selected here, it has monthly sales. One thing I do want to point out with this is that if you look at the name for monthly sales, there is an underscore that is automatically placed in there for spaces. So Excel, in terms of range names, does not like the use of spaces into the range name. You notice as we click down into the commission rate value that we have commission rate, and then we have tax rate, and again that underscore is placed in there. One other thing that I will have you note in terms of creating name ranges is that please do not use special symbols such as a a percent sign, as the name range functionality does not like those being used in range names. So now what can you do with range name? So let's go in here and let's click our name manager. And essentially what that does is that gives you a listing of all the various range names that you have in your particular worksheet that you're working in. So we have commission rate, we have monthly sales, we have tax rate. Notice those are in there in alphabetical order. It gives you the value and the reference in there. So it references our worksheet, commission, and it also gives the location of the field that is going to be referenced by that particular name. So you can actually go in here and you can edit a specific name range. If you don't want to accept the default, you can go ahead and do that. But I'm going to go ahead and leave the default values in here, or the default name ranges. So again, you can go ahead and if you want to remove one, you can go in there and select a particular name range and click delete if you want. And again, it gives you the ability to go in there and click in and refer to whatever values you're looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the default values alone. And what can you do with name ranges? Well, very similar to referencing cell fields, cell columns, things of that nature in Excel by its actual location of B2, C5. Once you establish a name range, you can actually then use that variable to reference a specific value or a specific text or string within your Excel worksheet. So in this particular exercise, what I'm going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and calculate the gross commission. So I'm going to use that. Let's see what our name range again for here is going to be monthly sales. So as I start typing it in there, that autofill feature comes in here and gives us the option of what we want to use. So I double click monthly sales. We're going to multiply that times the commission rate. And again, as you begin to type that in, it does give those variables in there. And you'll notice now that we have our our calculation of gross commission based off of referencing these two values. The next step in here again, if you want to calculate your income tax, again we're going to use monthly sales. If we click that, we're going to multiply that times tax rate. And again, make sure that you select it and don't just quickly or arbitrarily or prematurely click enter in there, because again, it won't accept the value. So now we have our tax rate, we have our commission rate, we have our monthly sales. So in this particular scenario, we're going to calculate our net income, and our net income is going to be our monthly sales. We're going to subtract our commission rate, and we're also going to, we're going to create before we do that, we're going to go in here and we're going to actually establish in our output area some defined information here. So again, create from selection, choose the left column. We're going to use our monthly sales. We're going to subtract our gross commission. So I establish those name ranges. And then we're also going to subtract our income taxes. And so that gives us our net income. So again, in this particular exercise, this video, we've gone through, we've learned how to create a name range by selecting a range, going up to our define names area within the formulas tab. We're going to use the create from selection. Again, select the option that is relative to the data that you're working with. And then again, using these in calculations and references within your worksheet, again, you can reference that range name instead of the actual worksheet row and column. So again, work through this. This will be part of your assignment. This is going to be on-hand exercise number 1. And the information that we've worked through in here is going to get us moving forward with dealing with 1 variable tables and 2 variable tables that we'll look at in our next